Welcome back to RS Insider. My name is Tanner. Today we're going to be talking about the new 992 Carrera S and my first impressions of it. So first thing I want to talk about with the new 911 is the exterior styling. I think the front end is super aggressive. I really like the lines across the hood. Of all the 911 generations, I think this one, to me personally, is the most exotic looking. In the rear, I really love the rear hips of the car. I think it looks super aggressive from the tail end of it. I like the light that goes across the back. I think that's a really unique personality trait of Porsches, is the fact that all of them have that light and it's identifiably a Porsche. Another thing that's cool with this one is the integrated door handles. They are doing that on the 911 and the Taycan, and I think it looks great on both. It just kind of is a little bit of a cleaner side appearance, and it looks nice. Next up is the interior cabin and cockpit. I really like the tachometer and gauge cluster here. I like that there's a center analog gauge cluster. Makes me feel really special. It feels right. I don't know if you guys have watched my Taycan video, but something that I liked about the Taycan was that it was fully digital, and that to me made sense because it's an electric car. But since this is a 911, there's so much heritage behind this car. I really like that there's still the center tachometer with the digital gauges on the left and right of them. They are customizable. On the right, I do have my what driving mode I'm in, but I can also have my navigation there. And on the left, I can also adjust this to have different things like my speed limit, my adaptive cruise control settings. So that is super nice. Next up is the steering wheel. I like that the steering wheel is fairly simple. Some of the competitors to this car do have fairly complicated steering wheels with lots of different buttons on them. This steering wheel only has the drive mode selector, the sport response button, my paddle shifters, and a couple buttons to navigate the different menu within the gauge cluster. Next, the center screen, super crisp. I really like all the graphics for it. It is easy to use. There's a lot of controls in here. There's Apple CarPlay. I have all of my drive modes, different drive modes, as well as the exhaust, spoiler, and chassis adjustments. Down below, I do have my temperature controls, the bronze shifter, razor. It's a little bit weird getting used to. I think it does look nice in this cabin, but I was excited to see that the new 992 GT3 is going back to a traditional PDK shifter. Down below, I do have ventilated and heated seats on this particular 911. There is a cup holder here, right here in the center. I do miss the 991 cup holders that came out from the glove box area. I just thought that that was nice and clean, that you could put them away and that you didn't have to see them if you weren't using them. But this is still fine. It is functional. Other than that, the car is super nice. I love everything about it. The only thing that bothers me about this interior is the fact that when I have all of these displays up, I kind of have to look side to side to see everything. I can't just see everything right while I'm driving. And I think that is kind of a missed point. But if that's my only complaint, then Porsche, you've done a hell of a job. Okay, driving the 911. So this car has 443 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. Does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. That is a very quick car, especially for this being not a base car, but definitely not a turbo or a Turbo S. Definitely impressive. Something I've immediately noticed with this car is the handling is incredible. Like the steering feel and the positioning of the car. This does have the rear axle steering, which does give it a unique feel compared to cars that don't have that. It just kind of feels like the car is coming around for you when you are in the turns. Something else to note with it is the exhaust of the car. It does sound incredible for being a turbocharged car. That's not something that you characteristically associate with a turbocharged six-cylinder. Typically you'll get great exhaust notes from V8s, but this does have a really good sound. And me and Enrique recently drove the AMG GT, and to be honest with you, I'm actually surprised to say this. I think that this has a little bit more character than that AMG GT, and I think Enrique would agree with me. Let's do a little bit of an acceleration here. Definitely some power with the car. The car actually is really good at putting its traction down. We slipped just a little bit, but nothing that I was ever concerned. It really stays straight, and that's something that I think makes this car such a confidence-inspiring vehicle. A lot of the people would maybe go with a Carrera 4S, and maybe if I continue to live here in Utah and I was able to afford one of these cars, I probably would go with a Carrera 4S just so that I could have that daily ability and not give up that. But honestly, this car is really good, and it's 39 degrees outside, and that was able to put the power down just from a quick acceleration. We're gonna take a corner in the 911. I love driving this car up a canyon. I have driven other 911s in the past, but I have not driven a 992, so I'm curious to see how it feels. I have put the car into Sport Plus mode, so you do hear the exhaust a little bit more, but let's see what it does. Definitely stays planted. I love the feeling of how planted this car is in the corner. It just feels like it's not going anywhere, and I can really trust the car. Honestly, with a car, I feel like I communicate so well with this. I feel like the car understands what I'm telling it to do, and just is really precise. Overall, I am really impressed with this new 992 Generation 911. I think it's an extremely fun car with a modern tech-filled cabin, and to me, whether you're getting the base Carrera or the new GT3, you're going to have an absolute blast driving this car. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please make sure to subscribe and let us know down below what you think of the new 992 911.